All right, let's kick things off with a tool that's so common we barely even think about it. But what if we've got its main purpose completely wrong?
Yeah, I'm talking about the clock. We look at it to see the time, right? But what if its most important creation isn't telling time at all? The cultural thinker Neil Postman, pointing to the historian Lewis Mumford, he suggests its true product is, well, it's something way more profound, something that literally reshaped our reality.
Mumford put it this way: the clock is a piece of power machinery whose product is seconds and minutes. Now think about that. By creating seconds and minutes, the clock did something kind of incredible. It gave us the very idea of moment to moment. It took time, which, used to be connected to the sun and the seasons, and it turned it into this independent mathematical thing. And that single idea, that our tools actually create the concepts we live by, that's the key to understanding how technology really, truly changes us.
So that trade-off, gaining this perfect mathematical time, but maybe losing our connection to nature's rhythms. That brings us to what Postman calls his first big idea. Every new technology is basically a deal with the devil.
He argues that all technological change is a Faustian bargain. As he puts it, technology giveth and technology taketh away. For every single advantage a new piece of tech offers us, there's always a disadvantage that comes with it. And let's be honest, we rarely stop to think about what that cost really is.
Just look at the printing press. Wow. It gave the Western world prose, modern science. It even helped create the whole idea of the nation-state. But the costs? They were huge. It kind of pushed poetry into this corner for elites. It weakened our religious sensibilities, and it helped turn patriotism into something lethal.
But, okay, who's actually paying those costs? This leads right into Postman's second point. The good stuff and the bad stuff from technology, they're never ever shared equally across society. And this is a really crucial point. Every new technology creates winners and it creates losers. It's never neutral. And that means we have to start asking some pretty tough questions. So we've got to ask these things. Who specifically benefits from this new tech? What kind of industry is going to get a boost? And which groups of people are going to be harmed? Who are we really giving power to? And who are we taking it away from? The next time someone is hyping up a new technology, we have to challenge them. Who are you really speaking for? Who wins here? And, just as importantly, who loses?
Let's take the computer revolution. The clear winners are the big guys, right? Large-scale organizations, the military, banks, huge multinational corporations. They gain this immense power. But Postman argues that the losers are often, us, the masses of people. Our private lives become more open, we're more easily tracked and controlled, and we get reduced more and more to just a bunch of numbers in a system.
Okay, so this next idea is where it gets really interesting, because this gets to the heart of how our tools don't just change what we do, but how we actually think.
Postman explains it like this. In every tool we create, an idea is embedded that goes beyond the function of the thing itself. Basically, every piece of tech has a hidden prejudice, a philosophy, a bias that changes how we see the world. It nudges us to think in certain ways and to devalue other ways.
We already saw this with the clock, right? The idea baked into it is that time is a container, something you can fill or save or waste. That whole concept just didn't exist in the same way before we had clocks. It imposes this mathematical order onto our lives.
Or how about eyeglasses? They were invented way back in the 12th century. And sure, they helped people see better, but they also introduced this wild, radical idea that we don't have to just accept the limits of nature. They suggested that our anatomy isn't our destiny, that the human body can be improved. That's a straight line from a pair of glasses to the gene-splitting research we're doing today.
Even the microscope had a hidden philosophy. By showing us this invisible world of microbes, it suggested that things we can't see could control the things we can. And that created this powerful metaphor for the mind, right? It totally paved the way for ideas like psychoanalysis, which is, when you think about it, basically a microscope for our hidden thoughts and desires.
So these hidden ideas, they don't just stay inside our heads. And that brings us to Postman's fourth point. Their impact isn't small or contained, it's huge, it's unpredictable, and it's total.
He says the technological change is not additive, it's ecological. And to explain this, he uses this really powerful analogy. Just imagine you have a beaker of clear water, and you drop a single speck of red dye into it.
What happens? You don't get clear water with a red dot in it. You get a new color in every single molecule. The whole thing changes. And that's exactly what a new technology does. It doesn't just add something to the culture, it changes the entire environment. Think about it. After television was invented, you didn't have America plus television, you had a completely different America.
And when this new environment becomes so normal, so inevitable, the technology that created it gets this special status. It becomes what Postman calls mythic.
Once a technology becomes mythic, we stop seeing it as an artifact, something that was invented by people in a specific time and place. Instead, we just see it as a fact of life, like it's a tree or a cloud. Postman tells this story about how if you ask students when the alphabet was invented, they're just stunned by the question. The alphabet just is. And once something gets that status, it becomes almost impossible to question it or modify it or control it.
So, when we're faced with these powerful, often invisible forces, what are we supposed to do? How do we navigate this world? What's the big takeaway here?
Well, Postman gives us this framework, this toolkit for thinking critically. It starts with a trade-off. That trade-off always creates winners and losers. And the tool itself always has a hidden philosophy, which causes this massive ecological change to our whole society. And then eventually, that new reality becomes mythic. We see it as natural and just the way things are. Now, the point isn't to reject technology, not at all. It's to understand this whole cycle. Ultimately, the goal is to stop being what Postman called sleepwalkers in the face of all this change. The goal is to become conscious, critical users of the very tools that are shaping our lives. As he said, we need to proceed with our eyes wide open so that we may use technology rather than be used by it.
And that leaves us with a final and I think really crucial question to ask ourselves about our own relationship with tech. What philosophy is hiding in your smartphone? What trade-offs are you making every time you scroll your social media feed? And what kind of world is it creating for all of us?